Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is Lucas and I usually make a lot of content about design and no-code tools. And today I want to basically show you the world of Framer. Framer is by far my favorite no-code tool today because of its easy transition from being a designer to actually building things and publishing them online. This is the Framer website. If you're not aware of it, you can go to framer.com and basically Framer, you can build client websites very easily from scratch or from Figma, for example. You can also create different templates. So, for example, you can create templates like this. This is one cool example called Hanzo. And as you can see, there are a few different animations going on here. You can create like a portfolio page, a really cool portfolio page. You can also create different types of, niches like e-commerce. So e-commerce is a new one. This creator, for example, he's on YouTube, Hamza Ezan. I'm going to link his account in the description, but he creates really cool templates. I really love the design, and this is one of his designs more for e-commerce. As you can see, there's like really nice scroll animations. It's a very smooth scroll, very beautiful design. It's Framer is amazing. Like the possibilities, if you're a designer and you have like this really creative mind and you really want to build cool, not only websites, but also you can create advanced websites like this one, like with a sign in and sign up. There are tools out there, like for example, Framer Auth, where you can create member-only content in Framer. You can create a sign-in, sign-up button. You can create paywalls. It's Framer is growing, and what I really love about it is that it's very design-oriented. So not only do you have stuff like this, but you also have these new types of plugins where you can basically link a Shopify site in Framer. So you can create a full e-commerce store in Framer, and the only thing that will need Shopify is the checkout at the very end. But you can have a cart system in Framer. You can have a live product syncing. It's really amazing how this Framer community is growing. So this crash course today is for you to learn Framer, to give you kind of like a fresh new first step into Framer, so you can start building some stuff, start building your portfolio, start building some templates, start messing around with these tools, right? So without further ado, let's get started and let's start this crash course. So I'm in Figma right now and I opened this file. So basically, shout out to Pico Lab Studio in the design Figma community. They have a bunch of really cool templates. So a bunch of them are paid, but they also have like free ones like this one. So basically, I just want to, they have different sections for a homepage, and I just want to basically build one. So we have something like this, where we have like a dark hero section with a navbar and a text area with some buttons and an image. We can also add some type of animation by adding an extra image layer here. They have really nice sections that look really nice. For example, this with different steps and with the icon. I think this is like a perfect way to get started with Framer. They also have this one that has like different buttons, and with each button you can change the content here, right? So we can choose a few sections to use for this crash course. So because I don't want it to be too long, but I want it to be as long. I want it to be long enough for you guys to basically learn the foundations of Framer, and after this video, be able to create something on your own, create your own portfolio at least. So let's get some sections. I like this one, for example. I like this one also. This one is cool. So we're just gonna grab a few things here. We can put this one afterwards. So I really like this specific Figma file because it's not like one main frame. It's a few frames that you can switch to sections, right? So I like that one. And then we can get these two that are basically going to be in the same the same section, just with different buttons. And we can choose like I think, yeah, because this is going to take a little bit more time, but we can choose something like this. Or actually, let's just do this, and then a footer at the very end, right? Boom. All right, so we have our design file to start off with. Let's see how far we get to. I don't want it, again, I don't want this tutorial to be very long, but we're gonna build enough so that you guys can have a good foundation, right? So once you guys sign up to Framer, you're gonna have some type of dashboard that looks like this. On the left-hand side, you can see that there's a drop down here. For me, it says personal, but I have a bunch of other ones. And notice I'm in the browser, right? I'm in Google Chrome. So this is one way of doing it. I don't prefer to actually build in Chrome. I actually prefer to build in the app. So you can download the desktop app and have it down here, and that's what I do. So I'm gonna just open Framer, and boom, voila! I have this here in my machine, and basically I have here the drop down. So I have different workspaces. So the first workspace is general, and then these are different ones that I made. So I have a workspace for my templates, a workspace for my portfolio, one for different niches that I try to experiment with, like for example, automotive or real estate or whatever. Clients that I build it there, and then I end up copying it and giving it to their own account. If you guys want to learn more about that, please let me know in the comments, and I'll try to make a video on how I deliver projects to clients, right? And then I have this personal one. And as you can see, there's different like badges here. So the free one is that obviously for free, I don't pay. And then the personal one is basically that I pay for a specific workspace. So you can pay for each, I pay for this page. This is like my portfolio, my mini portfolio page. And basically I pay a basic fee every month. And I have another payment for this specific workspace. So I can have different types of paid projects in this workspace. So let's go back to my personal one. And over here we have the account, which has your account settings. Here you have updates, which I barely use because I have the Discord of Figma, not Figma, Framer. And they put a lot of updates there. So that's really a good resource if you want to know more about that. And we have the community. In the community, I've actually never, it brings you to this, basically to this community. I believe it's like a circle community. And here we have different announcements, different support, feature requests, plugins, plugin ideas. You can go ahead and read more about that, but it's a pretty active community. People post, like every few hours. There's different types of conversations happening. So you can go ahead and look at that. So also what we can do is we can see all the projects of each workspace, and you can see the archived ones. So basically like the trash, right? So what I want to do is just like in Figma, you can click here, plus, and then it starts to load, and then you can choose where you want to basically build this, right? So I have my different clients. No, I want to have a template. So let's just click all and click confirm. So now we're in Framer, we're in the project. This is how it looks like from the very beginning. So let's start off with the left side. So on the left side, we have right over here, this is the home where we can go back home. And then over here we have, this is like basically like clicking on file on the top of some type of application, right? But you have it right here. So you can go back to home. You have different quick actions, which are basically, it's also a shortcut. So basically Command K, you can go like this, and then you can click certain things to help you with, so domains, forms, analytics. You can click on this, and then you can view your analytics, for example. So that's one of the things. We have file, new page. I never use this really. I never really use this so much because this is basically, we have all of these in the UI. So yeah, this is not something I really use, but it's good to know that it's here, right? And right here we have our pages, we have our layers, right? So these are our different layers. Right now we only have one frame, one canvas layer, or one frame, if you want to call it like that. And we have the assets, right? So the components, the styles, and the code. So this is something that we're going to see right now, but let me just continue with the rest of the UI. So over here we have the plus icon, and this is what we saw at the very beginning. You can add pages, so you can add like a page like this, and click add, and now it's filled up with a preloaded page, right? I never do this, so let's just click on Command Z. But you can not only add pages, you can add sections, like so. So we can just grab one of these sections and go like this, right? But again, I never do that. And then they have the nav bars. Sometimes I do use the nav bars because they're pretty good, the Framer ones. But in a second, I will show you a better technique of how to do this. So we have nav bars, we have different menus, right? And menus basically, look like something like this. You can use that as type of like a drop down overlay to a nav bar, right? Again, I don't really use this so much. I'm just showing you like my process, right? Collections. This is very important when adding advanced functionality to your Framer website. So for example, what I mean is you're building a portfolio page. You want to add different portfolio projects, right? You add a CMS collection. Basically a collection would be like your portfolio projects, and an item would be your portfolio cover image, your project cover image, your project name, the date of completion, the date of start, all these different fields. Imagine it like an Excel sheet, and then you can end up visualizing it in the Framer website, right? So this is very, very important. I use it a lot. And these are different content fields that can be used on detailed pages. We also use this with the CMS, obviously. Then we have like different creative things. It's cool to check out what they have, but you can add like, for example, different grids. These are pre-made by Framer, which is cool. Some of them are really nice. So you can just play around with this in the beginning just to see what you have. You can create different ways. For example, these are nice in different projects, right? You can, for example, add this like in a background and make it, a little bit less opacity, so it's not so strong. I don't know, you can just play around and see. So we have different effects. Then we have media. So we have images and GIFs. We have videos, YouTube videos. So this is basically like a video file, or like a URL. It's best to use a URL. When you upload a file, it has to be, I believe, maximum 5 megabytes. So that's pretty tough when it comes to video. And we have YouTube and Vimeo. So if you're trying to import or embed a YouTube video, you can easily do that with Framer. Then we have like animations like Lotties. We have audios from Spotify to MP3s. And basically you can just add like an MP3, put it on the top right if you want to add some music to your website. I never do that, but you can do it. Then we have forms. So we can make forms from places like ConvertKit or MailChimp or FormSpark. FormSpark is the default one when you're just doing like a basic form here, right? FormSpark tends to be the default one. But yeah, we have different opportunities with that. I also like this tool from Insert Frame called they are called Framer Forms. This is a really cool tool. You can check out their website. They make really advanced forms, but this is, if you're learning Framer right now, it's not so important, but it's good to know that these types of tools exist, right? Basically, it's just first that you know the basics, and you know that this is in the back of your head, that one day you can be doing like advanced forms, like type form style or something like this, right? So let's go back to Framer. So we know we have different forms. We have like embeds to intercom, so like a type of, chatbot, Calendly, Typeform, HubSpot. We have different icons that we can use. I use this a lot when I build a button with a certain type of icon. I usually, there's different options. I usually use like feather or material. Then we have interactive stuff. So we have the locale selector that's basically for languages. So you can just put it here, and then you can somehow in the settings over here, add a default language. So let's say the default language is French, and then add a second language to Spanish, and then AI can automatically in Framer translate your page from French to Spanish. So that's something cool, but we won't be getting so deep into that in this video. So we have cookie banners for the Europeans. We have a search option, so that searches, for example, CMS collections. If you have like a large collection of blogs, you can put a search, and then you can search a specific blog, right? That's really cool. We have tickers, and tickers basically are, timed carousels. So for example, if I were to, go like this, and there would be different colors, you can connect these things to this, and then press play, and it ticks. It's like a timer, right? And you can adjust these settings over here. You can adjust the speed of it to be much slower, right? To be like this. It's also pretty cool for certain types of sections that you'd build in Framer, right? And then you have other ones like slideshows, carousels. You can add social embeds like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And there's different utilities like a download button, like a download file, embed, Lemon Squeezy or Gumroad. So if you want to like convert something from Lemon Squeezy, and you can like do reservations as well. Open tables, pretty cool. Sticky notes you can add as well. You can add the Framer logo or the Contra logo. Yeah, these are just a few things that you can add that would make your project look nice or work better. And then over here we have the different layouts. So we have frame, rows, columns, grid. I always use the frame. I always start off with the frame. So this is people are different, but I always do it like that. And again, I'm just showing you how I do it. And because we have rows and columns and grids, and these are like basically like pre-made things. But I always like to start with the frame and then create the grid and then create the stack and so on and so forth. Then we have text, which is, text. Then we have the CMS, which I was talking about before. And then we have plugins. And plugins are really cool because they help you a lot with your work. And plugins there's some component libraries out there. There are some, e-commerce plugins, authentication plugins, Unsplash, for example, to make your life easier when it comes to stock images. And yeah, that's really cool as well. And then on the right side, we have the like these different things. We have the breakpoint, we have layout. This is very technical. I think I have a video that goes deeper into this. But today we're just going to start building, and then you're going to see how I kind of built, right? So what I want to do right now is I want to go to Figma, and let's just copy this. Let's just copy this hero section and bring it into Framer and put it right next to it here. Perfect. And what we want to do is we want to basically design this and put it here. All right, so let's do that. So we have this here, and we have just one desktop frame, but usually when you design something, always, you design it for all screens, right? So what I like to do is I like to go here, I like to click plus, tablet, plus phone. And these are gonna be our three different canvases for our projects, but we always start off with this left one. Why? Because whenever we add something here, it basically scales down to the tablet and to the phone. It basically like mirrors it, right? And well, now our 3 canvases, and what we want to do is we just want to start, right? The first thing that we see is this navbar. And you could build a navbar from scratch, but building a navbar from scratch is pretty annoying. So I'm going to show you the way that I would do it and that I would show any beginner to do it, which is basically using, plugins, right? So Compa is a really good free, they have free components. I think about a few of them are for free. And I like to use, for example, if we go back home, we go blocks and we go blocks up here. There's this free navbar that we can use, and it looks pretty similar to this one. So let's just bring it in like this, drag and drop, and it automatically drags and drop. And usually when you do this, when you like drag and drop stuff, or when you add components, when you add certain sections from different component libraries, because as you learn Framer, you're going to start using different component libraries. I use them all the time because it saves so much work. But you can see that there's 2 dots here, and you don't want them to be there because 2 dots means that it's a fixed width, as you can see here. And that means that if I were to press play, and if I were to let's say that this would be a different color. Let's make this background color like gray so you can see. And I press play and then I go like this. You can see that it's fixed. It doesn't really grow with the canvas, right? So what I want to do is I want to just get this, and I always want to make this this width fill. So as you can see, it fills up with the width, right? And as you can see, it also stops, right? I'm growing it a little bit, and the logo doesn't really move in this button as well. It stays fit in the middle. That's a really nice feature, but why is that? Well, if we were to double click on this component and click on unlink and replace all, we can see that in this top layer, there's a max width of 1280. So whenever it hits 1280, this inner top layer gets stuck at 1280. So that's something that you also have to kind of practice, with the max width and stuff like that. It's quite confusing in the beginning, but if you use component libraries, I'm going to put a link to my favorite component libraries in the description below so that you guys can check them out. But if you can use these component libraries, basically your life is going to be much easier because you're going to be able to see how they built it. And this is how I learned how to use Framer efficiently, by looking at different component libraries and seeing, oh, they wrap these logos in here and then they put it into another stack. Oh, okay, now I see why it's spaced between, So it's quite overwhelming at first, but just get a component library and start adding them and just editing them, and you're going to see, oh, okay, he built it like this. This is interesting. Now I understand more and more, instead of just building it from scratch, right? So that's really good to use, component libraries for the navbar, especially because the navbar, as you open the component, you can see that they have different features. If it's a tablet or a phone, they have the hamburger menu, and then it drops the tablet open. So it's kind of, for a beginner, it's kind of tough to make a navbar like this, but it's, you can try it out. But it's best just to see how a component library does it first. So we have our navbar, and what we want to do is let's copy this into here, and let's make the style of the navbar kind of similar to this. So we have, let's just change the letter here to, it's called spend.in, and then we can change this to something different, like an S. Let's just put some other type of logo, and we can use the color picker over here and maybe choose something like this. And here we can replace the text with get demo, and here we can delete this because we want to have the same type of button as this one. So we can just copy this and put it in here. So make sure that it's in the same layer as this right button. So we can just call this right button. and then this would be the links, right? So we have a right button, and we can call this login. And this one is completely, round, and this one isn't, and it's also purple, right? So let's just, again, copy this, and let's go in and unlink and replace this button. And what I want to do is I want to go in here, and I want to make this button purple. So I don't want it to be blue, I want it to be purple. So let's just go with our picker like this. Let's replace this shadow color with the purple that we're using again. Boom. And again with this one. So as you can see, I'm using the color picker a lot, but what would be best is if I were to go like this and I were to create a new style. And I just call this one purple, right? And then I can just save it like this and use this specific thing throughout the project. So once we replace these colors, basically what we can do is we can select this one again. We have to select the primary one, by the way, whenever we're editing components. We have to select the primary one. And then what we want to do is we want to make it similar to this. So we just get the radius and round it up to about 40. And then we go back home and we're going to see, oh, cool. It looks like the design that we wanted. So we have that, and now we have this in the middle, right? It's not all the way here. So what we want to do is basically we have two stacks. We have the left side and the right buttons, right? Left and right. But we want to have 3 instead of 2 so that it evenly matches with evenly distributes, as you can say it. So we want to have the logo, and then we want to have these links in the middle, right? So what we can do is we can put this out here, and we can put this here, right? And now what we can do is, instead of having this, and also this is kind of like a large space, and we can just fit the content so it kind of hugs everything. And now everything is spaced between, right? So that looks great. So now what we want to do is we want to just replace some of these, the wording. So this is going to be products. This is going to be benefits, how it works. And in order to copy one of these buttons, all you got to do is go here and press like this, and then this one is going to be pricing. Let's just leave it like this, just so you understand it. And you can see here, this one has kind of like a bolt, right? And the reason why it has that is because it has this drop down feature, right? So if we were to click here, it has this overlay, right? And this overlay points to this drop down feature. So we can edit the overlay properties by just double clicking here, unlinking and replacing all. And let's go back actually to here. And yeah, what we would have to do is we'd have to just edit the text here. So we'd have to be like, what's the products? These are products, right? Okay, so we want to add like something like a computer, a tablet, and a phone. So all of these different things are built off of components, right? So this is a component, this is a big component, this is another component, and these are other components, right? So you can design kind of like the style. So if you were to want to put this on the right side, now if you go back here, everything is going to be on the right side because it's based off of one component. So let's just put it back here. So this is just so that you understand, right? Okay, so now we have kind of like a good idea. Now what we want to do is we want to go back home, and this is like a blue background, right? And our navbar is white right now. But let's just do that styling. Let's just finish this bottom section first, and then add these different styling elements. So we're here in our main dashboard, And under the desktop, now you can see everything is kind of consistent here. Now we want to add this hero section. So what I want to do is I want to just build a frame, kind of draw it out how it's going to look like, right? We could build a frame like this, boom, and it's going to be automatically this blue color. But let's just get the color picker and let's just go like this, right? And then now what we want to do is we want to add, by clicking T or by just clicking up here, you can go like this and just say all your business expenses in one place, dot. And I just typed it like this. It automatically is an inter font, a size 16, but we can go back to Figma and, you know, click here and kind of see, okay, it's this plus Jakarta Sans 72 bold. So we can do that also in Framer. So we can go plus, oh, sorry, not here, plus Jakarta Sans 72 bold and make it white. And then what we can do now, we have the font, we can add a style, which is going to be H1, right? And then we have this style, and we can make this color, actually, sorry, let me remove that. And we can make this color the main white. So we can call it, we don't have to call it white, we can call it like neutral, right? And the reason why I call it neutral is because in the light mode, it's going to be white, but in the dark mode, it's going to be a darker color. And how can we preview that? Well, down here we have this sun, and we can just click it, and then, well, we have to create this first and make this neutral. Okay, but I did it the wrong way. We have to make it like this for the white, and for this one, make it like this. So now if I were to go back, you can see that basically we have a dark and white mode. And then we can make this fill of the desktop, we can make it neutral. So now if we go like this, we're already designing in dark mode, which is pretty cool because a lot of, you know, it's kind of like a trendy thing, you can say. So now let's bring this in here. But we really can't, because we can't bring it inside of this frame. Or we can, but it's not really the way to go, I would say. So what I always do is whenever I create a frame, I automatically add a layout. And it's going to be a stack now. And as you can see, these are all stacks, right? The desktop is also a stack. And this is also a stack, but these are like horizontal and the desktop is vertical because everything in the desktop is going under each other. And for this stack, it's going to be going next to each other. But we want these texts to go under, right? We want them to stack down like this. So basically what we do is we bring this here, and it's going to be automatically stacked in here. But oh, there's a problem. Let's make this with fill. So now it's going to fill in the container that it's in. But we want to add another stack. And this stack basically is going to be the fill. And we want this main stack to have a type of padding, right? We can see that there's, let's just imagine that this text, these two buttons, and this image are going to be in one stack. The padding is going to be over here where we can see with the navbar. It's going to be quite a large padding. This has to be even larger here. So let's do that. So we're going to have to even add more padding. So right now it's 48. We can add like 120 on the right and left. Something like that. And then we're going to have to do the same here. So we can call this one hero section or hero and add some padding on the left and right, which is going to be 120, 120. So now, as you can see, there's a larger padding just like here, and we're doing good. So let's put this, let's align this, or let's align it in the center. And as you can see, it's also much smaller, but we don't want to add an extra padding in this section. We want this to have a fixed width. And the fixed width would kind of, look like this. We have a fixed width like this. And what the problem is that if you want to do it in a tablet or in mobile, the fixed width is gonna basically, it's gonna mirror to the other ones, so it doesn't look really good in mobile. So what we can do is, instead of adding a fixed width, we can keep it fill, but we add a max width of around, we add a max width of fixed, and we put like 600, well, actually more. Let's make it that, something like this, 810. And then obviously this text is going to be too big for the mobile and for the tablet. So what we can do is we can select this. We got to make it an H1, and we got to make it like this. And then we go back here and we edit the H1, and we added some breakpoints. So in the medium, it's going to be 58, and in the small, it's going to be, around this size. And then we can just adjust the padding on the small so it's not so much. Something like this, actually like 20 would do it. So now it looks much better. Now we're designing remotely, automatically. We're not doing it at the end. We do it all automatically as we continue, right? So what we do here now is we have this first stack. We want to add a second one, and we want to just basically go back to Figma and copy this over here and bring it here. And whoops, it's the same H1. So we want to stop that, and we want to go back here and try to see, this is plus Jakarta Sans 24 regular. So let's go back to Framer. We unlock this, it's regular, and we want it to be, it's regular, and we want it to be 24 pixels, and maybe make the color not 100, but a little bit like this, so that it's a nicer color. And now we have the text stack. So we can call this like text. Now what I want to do is I want to add these buttons. So this is the same button as here. So we can just, go here and copy this button and go down here and paste it outside. And what we can do now is we can just copy this, duplicate this, and you can see we can just, the buttons will eventually come here, but we don't want it to be, horizontal. We want it to be vertical. So by doing so, we do it like this. And now what we do is we delete these two texts, and we bring this button in here, and now it's going to fill in. And we want a second button, right? But we don't want it to be on top of each other. We want it to be like this. So now that you kind of see how I'm building with these stacks, you're going to get used to it. But it's not so hard. So with this one is going to be get a free demo, and see pricing. And then we can just double click, and then we can just make a style similar to this one, which is basically going to be like white text, but like a very, this is going to be like maybe like that, something like that. And this is called L primary disabled. Well, I want to do it for the disabled one. I would do it for this one. So let's just go like this, 20% opacity. Instead of a blue text, we keep it white, not neutral. And these can also be white. The reason why I didn't choose neutral is because this is going to be on top of a blue background. It's always going to be white. So let's click on the secondary default, primary. So we just got to choose which one. Oh, it should be the second one. There we go. See pricing, perfect. Now, as you can see, they're kind of too close to each other. So what we want to do is we want to just grab this parent layer of the two and increase the gap by like so, right? And this is a fixed height, and I don't want it to be fixed. I want it to be fit content. So now it's going to hug the content. And this might be confusing at first, but it's how we do it, and we just have to stay patient. We're going to fix it. Now what we want to do is we want to add a stack to this and basically add the text and button. So, and then because underneath it's going to go the image, right? So we want to duplicate this and we want to delete this. We just want to add an image over here. So we can call this one image. And in this image, we can add a frame, boom, and make the frame fill the width and have a specific height, right? Because we want the image to have a specific height. And here we can just go back to Figma and click on this image on this dashboard. And I want to like cut it like this. And then export it. So am I doing the right thing? Yeah, perfect. So we want to export it as a PNG. I usually go like this and then export dashboard, save, and then we go back to Framer and we click on the fill, and then we have different types of fills. We have gradients, we have radial gradients, as you can see. We have these angle gradients, I think they're called, and then we have these images. So here for the image, let's just choose the dashboard, and boom, we have the dashboard. And what we can do is we can put the fit, and then we can just adjust the sizing to the image, right? So now we have something looking very similar, and it as you can see in the Figma, there's a lot of space up here, but not up here. So what we can do is we can just add a top padding to this specific hero section, right? So we have the text image, we have text and button and the image. And now what we want to do is for this hero, add a nice top padding of about 120. Now it's looking much more like the actual Figma design. So now for the hero, I want to export this background. And the way I do that is, let's just delete everything that we see that doesn't have to do with the background. So we have like these nice, blurry circles over here. We can adjust them so that we can make it in our own liking somehow. Something like this, I don't know. And then what we want to do is we want to go here and again export 1.5, I would say, hero section image, and then go back to Framer. And now for this hero background. Okay, so this is an interesting one because if we were to go like this, we want to see how big it gets. Okay. Also for this one, I don't know why it didn't collapse, this size didn't collapse, but this should basically be a new style called, there should be like a paragraph, and we call it like a, now it should collapse. Okay, good. Because I didn't know why it wasn't collapsing. All right. Also, I see that we want to add some gaps here. Something like this would look good, right? And then we can see here also the image is, we have to adjust the images to the different viewports. This one we can actually reduce the right and left because it's going to be a smaller screen. Something like this looks nice. We can make it even larger. And for the phone, obviously, it's very small. I don't even know how they do it for the phone. You can even add another image if it's too small. But let's see how they do it for their phone size. Okay, they also have like a very small dashboard. We can export this image. It's another image. Dashboard mobile. And then go back to Framer. And then replace this image with the other dashboard. So Framer mobile. And now it's going to be a little puny thing, and we can increase the size and it's going to look much better like this, right? So we can have different hero images for the different viewports, right? So if we go like this and we were now to, decrease the size, you can see it looking better, right? And now let's add this background image. So we have this hero, and what we want to do now is we want to replace it with an image, and we choose the hero section image, and let's see, now it's looking cool. Now it's looking cool, guys. Again, for the phone, you can even replace it if it's not looking nice, but it does look cool with the gradient, right? And now, if I were to duplicate this, and I wanted to work on the next section, which would be, where was it? Here, this one. If I were to duplicate it, and if I were to work on this next section, which is this one, basically, it would be, let me show you. Let's just bring in this screenshot. Oh, I have to go back here and let me take another screen. Let me take a screenshot like this. So if I were to go like this, boom, go back to Framer and put the screenshot right here. And I duplicate this. The canvas isn't really showing, the canvas of the viewport isn't showing the whole thing. And why is that? What's your wild guess? I'm going to give you a few seconds because I know the answer. And the answer is because this desktop is also a stack, right? And the height has to be fit content. So basically everything that you do, it fits the content. So if I were to, duplicate this, a few times, the height wraps around the content inside. So that's a really good thing to know, right? But before we continue, I also see that the nav bars has to be, on top of this section, right? And it's not. It's on the top of, it's in somewhere else. And it also has a white background. So what we want to do is we want to remove this white background. And we want to make it, like this, kind of. We need the text to be white, obviously. We need the text to be white. And we can do that by going here and, well, okay, we need to go into each, because each text is its own components. So we can go here and replace this with white. Now we go back here and everything is white. Now let's make this logo white as well. Boom. And we make this white. Boom. And now we have everything looking white. Also on the mobile, we need these things to look white as well. This X has to look white. And this one as well. So that was a tablet. Now this is the mobile. Boom. Okay. This is basically also the drop down. And we want the drop down to look nice. Looks good like this. All right. I mean, it's not so important for now. Let's just keep it like this. And then now we don't really see anything. Why is that? We took away the background color. It's because it's basically the background color now of the actual desktop frame or stack. So what we want to do is we want to actually make this fixed. And being fixed is that whenever you scroll, it's actually going to be fixed to the actual top. But what if we don't want it fixed? What if we just wanted to show it on the top? We put it relative again, but then we'd have to put it inside of this hero section on the very top right here, right? And then we couldn't have this top padding anymore, because then we basically need this to be fixed at the top. We want it to be at the very top, right? And whoa, now we have this. We can't add this padding anymore. So basically what we got to do is that we got to remove the padding everywhere here, right? And then what we got to do is we got to add. Now what we have is something much better, right? So here the width has to be like this. Here, for example, we got to do the same. We got to, remove this padding, and we got to basically adjust the padding to the lower layers, which would be these. So we can adjust it so it looks nicer like this, and so that this can basically, you know, wrap around the top. So we got this button, and let's go like this. Now it's looking better. And now it's at the top, and now it's not fixed, it's how we wanted it. Perfect. Okay, I think now we can move on to the next one, which would be this one. We're pretty, far with the time. I didn't want it to be so long, but let's just build this section, and then we can move forward, right? So let's just build these two sections really quick. And I'm gonna do it in a quite quick manner because I just want you guys to see how I do it. And so you guys can try to use that for your own work, right? Okay, so we have this hero section. Now what we want to do is we want to draw another frame. We want to put this frame in here. But again, we got to be careful that it's not in the image. So we got to put it out here. Let's collapse this. I always orient myself with these layers, right? This has to be filled, and this is still a frame. Let's give it a layout. And again, it's still in this image thing. We want it to be outside of the image. We want to put it here. Put the hero here. Okay. Very important to always look at the layers. And we want this to be a features section, right? And this features section is going to contain these two. And then inside, let's say we're going to have a text. Why use us? Let's just put it like that. And we're going to remove the background so that it goes with the, dark and light mode. And we're going to then basically give this the purple color, put this in here. We need another text, and this has to go down, not to the side. Perfect. We're gonna give this a text called easy, simple, and affordable. And with this, let's basically give it a new style called H2, and let's edit the style. Let's make it, neutral. Well, it has, okay, now I understand the problem. So we were right before. So the neutral one is supposed to be this in the black mode and this in the white mode. So this is going to be a neutral color. Oh no, it has to be white. Sorry, I'm getting confused. All right. Whatever, but you guys understand the whole thing. So let's just make it like this. Let's make this larger. This is something like 36. I would say this is something like semi-bold. And then we just need a second text underneath. Let's just copy what the text says. And let's go back to Framer and paste. And what we need is just to use that body one. And let's make it, dark and not so dark. And we want it to be fill. We want all of these to be fill. Right? We want this to be centered as well. We want this to be centered. And now what we want to do is we want to add this into its own stack. We're putting things into boxes, right? And this is going to have a max width because as you can see, it has kind of like a max width of around, I don't know, let's make it much smaller. 810, right? This is also pretty big. I would want it to be around 18 pixels. You can adjust the line height, for example, to be something like this. And now what we want is the second part. So we have this text at the very beginning. And now what we want is the second part, which is going to be more of a stack on the left and right, and an image on the right and text on the left. So what we want to do is just go like this. We want to call this bottom, right? And then in the bottom, we're going to have text. Let's just delete these texts, and it's going to be similar to this type of text, but not really. So let's go back here and let's just do one of these. So automatic invoice. Let's go like this, paste, and let's duplicate. Let's go back to Figma, copy this, go back here, duplicate, and let's make this a, so it's going to be a little bit larger. You can make the styles if you want. I'm not going to really do it because we're on a time limit here. And we can decrease the gap a little bit so it's much closer and make it to the left side. And for each one, we can, align it to the left, right? And now, we also, for this one, we don't really need this max width thing, so we can just remove it for now. And what we want to do is we want to, basically this is going to be a text thing. And we want to basically add now this component, right? Or not this component, this icon. So what we can do is we can add a frame and give this frame a layout. And this layout is going to have a color of purple. And then we're going to give it like a little radius around 5. And then we can search for an icon and add a feather icon, for example, and just put something random with a color. You can look for your own ones and put them in here. Now it's going to be stacked inside and centered in the middle. And now what we want to do is we want to put this here. So we have this stack next to this text, and this is going to be its own text stack, right? So we can call it text stack. And then this one has to be actually a little bit smaller, like in the Figma thing. And we want it to have a little bit more of a radius. And we want the icon inside to be much smaller than it is. Maybe something like this would be good. And it's aligned to the top. So what we can do is we can align this to the top like this and create more of a gap between the elements, right? So now we have something looking good. Now what we can do is we can just duplicate this a few times. So we have the 3 ones. And now we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to add all of these 3s into its own stack. This is going to be the text stack. And then what we got to do is we got to add an image like so, put it in here, and add an image stack. So this might be confusing, but I'm just working live. And then for this text stack and this image stack, we have to add another stack that's going to go horizontally, like so. So now we have this going in here, and we can add the fill and the fill. Actually, it should be like this. And then we have these two, the image and the text stack, and we have the bottom part and the top part. And then we can add some gap. So there's some gap between, and the height would be fit the content so that we have a good fit between everything. And we can add some padding to the top around, I don't know, 100 pixels. The bottom as well, 60 or something. And then on the right, we can add, how much do we have? 120. And the left also 120. And then for this image, what we can do is we can go to Figma and we can basically just export this as a PNG. Go like this, export the content, go back to Framer, go back here and click on this, choose content, open, and we have it here, right? We can even add some gap between everything of around 20 pixels, not necessarily important. We can decrease the size of this text to about 16 pixels maybe. We can make each one of these text stacks have a fixed or a max width of around, I don't know, something smaller. And then as you can see, it's kind of like hugging to the middle. We want it to be actually not like that. We want it to be space between. So we can actually make this like this. And this should be space between. Might be a little bit confusing at first, everything, but I hope that you guys really understand the whole concepts here, right? So we built already here a few different sections, and oh wow, as you can see here, this one isn't even shown. So what we can do is we can just, I don't know why, I think there was some type of problem, but this can happen sometimes. We probably did something wrong, but what we can do is click here. You can see that it's here, but you just press yes, and now you can see it. And now basically for the tablet, what we can do is we can make this go like this, and we can make this go centered and center everything. That can be one way, or we can just go here and click on this features thing, remove the padding, the crazy padding on the left and right, and adjust everything to be like this. Or how do they have it in their Figma? Do they even have it in tablet mode? I don't think so. So yeah, one way of doing it is just going like this, right? And then adding some gap between the two. And basically just, yeah, let's see how we can do this. Making the text stack go like this, or in the center, yeah. Center would be better. And then making everything, we can even like adjust the style of these by making it go like this. And increasing the gap here. And so on and so forth. Right, and then as you can see here, also with the mobile version, we have to fix this. Well, this is still not so nice. We have to make this look better. Let's remove this max width. Remove. Now we have it looking more like this. That looks much better than before. And yeah, and then let's make the height to fill. No. Let's just fix this one because this is terrible. And we can just reduce the gap to about the padding, sorry, to about 20. And then what we want to do here is again go like this and make something like this. You know, you can just adjust it however you want. So this is just a quick crash course. Framer is obviously, you know, much more difficult. But I hope you guys learned something today. We could only build like something like this, but it was quite an interesting build. Hope you guys learned a lot. The Framer journey is pretty long. But if you want to learn more, please visit more of the videos on my channel. I have a lot of resources and I'm posting every day just to help you guys learn and create amazing things with Framer. This is just like a quick tutorial, quick crash course. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to, get the file for this specific project, I'm going to have it in the resources below, so you can just remix it and have it for your own workspace and try to see how I built it, especially in this part, right? Also, like I said, component libraries, big thing. Use component libraries. They're great. I can show you like a quick example. Basically, frame blocks is one of them. And with frame blocks, you can just, instead of building it like this, you can just get like a section like this, drag it in the bottom, and it's already done. And you just have to replace the images, replace the text to your branding, to the styling of what you of your idea or of your client's idea. There's different types of components. I have in the description below. I have a link to this and to other component libraries. You can choose which one you like best. So thank you very much again, and hope you guys have a wonderful day today. Thanks. Bye-bye.